Why is there an entire industry based around making men insecure? Worst of all, people are scared to talk about it. This industry's ultimate business plan is to make you feel even worse about yourself. And it's working.
Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time that they're 35?
Influencers and celebrities are paying their mortgages by exploiting an insecurity. CEOs are buying their mansions through exploiting this insecurity. But you know what's being forgotten amidst this wave of cash? The damage this is causing to an entire population of young men. I'm 24 years old and I can't function because of this. As the money rolls in, this industry grows larger and larger. The more insecure men become, the more the people at the top profit. The internet will tell you a clear story of how men in the modern era feel. Did hair loss cause depression for anyone else? I can't stop worrying about my hair loss. I'm balding very fast. I'm worried about becoming unattractive. None of this is right, but it's not surprising. Young men are hit with a constant message across social media. They need to look one particular way, otherwise they're worthless. It's all being powered by a machine. One that's existed for thousands of years, but greatly accelerated by social media, and it's deliberate. Taking us back, this phenomenon dates all the way back to ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, Aristotle would purchase goat urine as a hair regrowth method. Ancient Egyptians would use a remedy of animal guts on the scalp. Men have long gone to great lengths to prevent baldness, but it's gotten much worse over the past 30 years, and that's for a reason. The messages being sent by the media giants working with big business. Even before social media, the telecommunication giants were heightening insecurities through TV. The start of this industry boom can be traced to the 1990s, where Hair Club for Men began to dominate the airwaves.
Even when I run my fingers through Sean's hair, it still feels natural, like his own, even when the hair blows around. It looks very natural.
The sales plan was to tell men that all their worries in life would be solved if only they had hair. To the detriment of men everywhere, this model worked and the money began flowing in. So, Hair Club for Men doubled down.
Can you guess who has a hair replacement here? I'm Cy Sperling, president of Hair Club for Men. Most men and women think they could spot a hair replacement a mile away. But I'm here to tell you that what they could spot is a bad hair replacement. What's your guess on our 4 men? The answer is all 4 of Hair Club's strand-by-strand hair replacement system.
The company was earning tens of millions a year, opening up over 100 locations across the United States. And this was only the beginning of profiting off man's insecurity. The success of commercializing this insecurity sent a clear message to dermatologists, big healthcare, plastic surgeons, and Hollywood. If you attack a man's insecurity while pretending to help them, you can make a fortune without anyone batting an eye. Men will happily use their wallets to solve their insecurities. There's serious money in making men feel worthless about themselves. Let me be clear. This business model of capitalizing off of insecurities is not just isolated to men. Corporations will always go the extra mile to make people feel like they need to improve themselves through their product. But imagine if the thing you were made to feel angry about, you had no biological control over. The balding industry is about making men feel inferior for something that's completely out of their human control. This is an important time to bring up the ridiculousness of it all. Studies show that this hair loss fear is largely nonsense. 1. Most studies show that 50% of men experience some level of baldness between the ages of 18 to 49. Hair loss is natural and common. And 2. Women aren't anywhere near as repelled by baldness as you're being programmed to believe. Most studies show that women are actually attracted to bald men. And that's not what the industry needs you to focus on. Big media and corporations alike need you to see Dr. Phil haircuts as representative of baldness, so that you think that bald equals ugly. This fear, this insecurity, needs to exist among men at large in order to be truly profitable for the powers that be. As leading Hollywood stars of the late 90s and early 2000s were lusted over for their hair, men began getting increasingly desperate for solutions. This is where the extreme lengths for solutions came into the fold. Hair transplants across the globe, expensive vitamins and more. So this industry was incredibly lucrative in the late 90s and early 2000s. But in the 2010s and 2020s, thanks to social media, it has been kicked into a whole new gear, one that should concern you. All studies on social media confirm one thing. It is causing users to hate themselves. Who's being impacted the worst? Adolescents. Social media is deteriorating young people's self-image and accelerating self-hatred. Yes, it's been well publicized for young girls. Everyone remembers the Facebook leaks that showed how Instagram is causing young women to feel horrible about their bodies. You'd be hard-pressed to find a news outlet that isn't reporting on the damage social media is causing to female self-esteem. This is all good. But what keeps being ignored by the media? The negative impacts modern social media is having on men's self-esteem, and every study is confirming it. Men are just as susceptible to the body-pressuring images shown on social media as women are. While you endlessly hear about the negative body image issues women face as a result of social media, men are in the dark, facing the exact same problems. Does our society not care? Or is it more lucrative to outright ignore it? The more I scrolled through Instagram, the I felt. Higher rates of depression, anxiety and loneliness, all being tracked to the apps that control the lives of adolescent men. This shouldn't be a surprise. What do young men see when they thumb through their social media? TikTok stars with perfect hair, Instagram models with thick locks. Men are being programmed to see this beauty ideal as a necessity. They're wrongly believing that their self-worth is directly tied to these absurd standards. Imagine the life of a 20-year-old man in 2023. You're spending more time than ever before in human history alone and online. You notice your hairline beginning to recede, your anxiety spikes. Your loneliness leads you to scroll through social media where you see photos of men with thick hair being fawned over by girls. This is happening on a daily basis to young men. One of the many reasons for the heightened worries and insecurities being experienced by this generation, where it all gets worse, is that they can't even turn to the influencers who are supposed to comfort them. Why? Because the influencers are a part of the problem and the larger machine. If you were one of these young men, where would you take refuge? It would be through your parasocial friends, the influencers you loyally watch. So just imagine how you'd feel if you see these influencers actively supporting the message that you should feel bad for going bald.
Thanks to the sponsor of today's show, Keeps, you don't have to just sit around and wait for that to happen. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair that you have, Keeps has you covered. Keeps helps you stop hair loss before it's too late.
This predatory industry has evolved for new media, taking over YouTube. Sales are no longer generated through corny 1990s ads, but rather social media apps and influencers. Thanks to monetizing off of the crippling anxiety of young men, companies focused on hair loss solutions are taking off like never before. These companies are taking the business world by storm, earning hundreds of millions in revenue and growing faster than all analyst expectations. Without explicitly naming names, at least one of these services you are surely aware of. Their name rhymes with heaps. Every creator with a semi-large following has promoted the brand on their YouTube channel, but how many of these creators are thinking about the message they're sending to their fans? Some people will always want these products, with or without an influencer's endorsement, but others are listening to the message being sent by these creators and absorbing it, taking in a darker message. Do the influencers simply not care about their fans? The truth is that the majority of creators have a price tag. This was made clear through the FTX debacle of 2022, as well as every other crypto scam proudly endorsed by celebrities and influencers. So don't expect an influencer to take a moral stance on corrupting their audience when they're offered millions. So what's the unique element to this industry? The model of making men insecure, leading them to buy products, works exceptionally well. It's a cash cow that will only get more evil as time goes on. That's because exploiting the insecurities of men works, especially in a society where young men are feeling increasingly lost and directionless. Social media is ingraining a message to young people like it's never been hammered in before. Your value is tied to a specific beauty standard. So, where will this all end? Unfortunately, this is only the beginning. The industry of ridiculous male improvement is becoming more and more insane. Limb lengthening is being normalized to fix height. Ab etching surgery, which is meant to give you permanent abs, is also growing in global popularity. The only way for this madness to end is for men to release themselves from this dark world. For men to realize they are enough as they are. To spend time with real people. Stop idolizing influencers with agendas, and for young men to understand that we all have intrinsic self-worth.